Welcome back to the Spegroon Documentary Series. In this episode, I'll be explaining the latter lore of the world and any anomalous information to go along with it. The later seasons, those being seasons 3 to 6, are considered more modernized versions of the current world. Player counts were generally lower and the season spans longer amount of time. We actually managed to gain players in season 6, making it the largest cast yet. But enough of the seasons, let's get on with the lore. Near the start of Season 3, I began tests with mob farms. At first, I built a massive above-ground farm by my base, but it ended up yielding next to no drops due to how mob spawning worked. I then tested some underground and found them to work. I set up an entire network of them around Clow. There was even one capable of generating slime balls. This was met with great profits, and was the first case of fully automatic mass production on the server. Soon after, another great feat of engineering would be attempted by our good friend, Aaron. His plan would be far, far more ambitious, though. He planned to create an automatic cobblestone generator, harnessing the power of a wither to break the blocks. Better yet, he would put it in the city of Clow. This was the greatest threat to face the server yet, the equivalent of an untested nuclear reactor being built. Aaron built a chamber down in the bottom of the hole, locked beneath a layer of lava. Me and Jerome were present for the crowning, as we were worried. The machine turned out not to work, but not in a catastrophic way. The wither remained complacent, but refused to work. We ended up having to fight it after the machine failed. Lava poured down on us from the layer above as the wither blew through the blocks. No casualties were taken, but it was a tough fight for sure. After this, there was an agreement that a wither reactor should never be built in any city again. After a long journey in the end, I had finally done it. I came upon an end city with an end ship, and climbed my way all the way up to gain the first Electra on the server. Once I got home, I applied mending to it, and showed my newfound powers to Jerome and another longtime player, Zach. They were stunned, and better yet, found it as an easy deterrent for Aaron, as there were still some tensions from the creation of the Wither Reactor. As a reaction, Aaron started to build the walls of Clow much higher, but it was met with many criticisms due to its now brutalist design. The server updated to 1.13 in Season 4. Not many players played on the server, as it was mainly me and Aaron who would come on to build and do other activities. We sometimes referred to the season as the Lost Season, as it was only up for about a month before being taken down. The server reopened with the 1.14 update, and regained many players when compared to the previous season. The 1.14 update added a lot of new and interesting content, and especially with the presence of villagers in Clow, this became a draw for players on the server. Later on, Clow would be met with much opposition, as new players came in to terrorize it. These would be Daniel and Kevin, who would come in and plant trees around the city, making mobs spawn and attack the residents due to the low lighting level. There was originally a cease and desist order on all new tree planting in Clow, as a local hermit named Mr. Hootner, better known as Nathaniel, would plant them for chopping, much to the same effects as making the mob spawn. After an order to stop was placed on the town's board, Daniel and Kevin took to planting trees across the city, and joining the Hall of Past Terrorists fighting the regime of Clow. Peace was eventually established between the terrorists and Clow, and they set off to settle a colony of Clow in the Far East. They dubbed themselves Ellonija, and quickly set up a fine real estate, setting up a villager breeding system and a multitude of homes to live in. Some would even say that Ellonija started to have more power than even Clow itself, so tensions naturally rose between the two. There are consequences, let's say, to hosting a server on a broken machine. The server had traded hands, once being hosted on Jared's boogie board PC, and later moving to a spare PC I had. The spare PC only had 6 gigabytes of RAM and had a Celeron processor. The pressures of running everything had gotten to the machine, and it one day snapped in what I like to call the server's meltdown. It started with minor lighting glitches in Clow, blocks being at 0 lighting level despite there being a torch nearby. At first, we all blamed the tree terrorists in the update for the lighting glitches. It slowly started to consume the server, however, as more and more areas became swathed in darkness. Eventually, the world started to load slower and slower. One day, while roaming in Clow, it all broke down. Chunks would not load for anyone, and some people actually became invisible. Aaron came to where I was and saw the torches I put down, but could not see me even after I relogged. The server effectively ceased functioning. A reload fixed it, but it would only truly go away next season, after the installation of the Ryzen 7 64GB surfboard PC, created by yours truly. A long time ago, I had built rails to spawn when I was the active ruler in Clow. Those rails would later be moved and reformed by Lord Bug, aka Steve. He built his own rail system that went underground, and it was a relative success. Steve also had a court case for some previous conduct, and he decided to blow up the courthouse in protest. As his repentance, he built a second courthouse, and all was well. A couple seasons later, though, while just digging around, Aaron found TNT was rigged under the new courthouse, making it ready to explode, just like the old one. Aaron didn't like that the rails were moved previously, and he also happened to need rails for a railway to Ellonija in order to repopulate Clow with villagers. He needed a way to bring Steve back on the server to accuse him, so naturally, he took the rail system down. Lord Bug came back with a vengeance, and was willingly taken to court. The court system was slow and inefficient, and Blake was to be the judge in the case. He saw that Steve was set free, and the antics ensued. I had rigged the old, now rebuilt courthouse with TNT, and the new courthouse was also rigged with TNT. Lord Bug ran out and lit TNT and fires all around Clow, notably burning large portions of the whole. Blake set off both of the courthouses. I chased him down to enact justice, but he fled. Terrorism had just peaked, and the season ended off, for once not with silence, but with a bang. Starting in Season 6, a new saga had emerged from the prismatic sun. Lenses of all colors were being dispersed, and challenges had to be completed to gain them. All different walks of people started gathering the lenses, but for what they were used for remained a mystery. Of the notable challenges is the destruction of Record Munchant County, as it was rigged with stacks of TNT, and someone had to light it to gain a lens. Another time, a player had to travel where the old prismatic sun was set up and battle a horde of pigmen. The collection of these lenses is still ongoing. Maybe they have some larger intents than most realize. Among the most notable characters in this charade is one that simply goes by the name Dumb Donald, or really Nathan. Before his saga, he had built a home as a, let's just say, phallic part outside the walls of Clow. After Nathaniel, the local hermit, burned it down, he moved his home onto the statue of Lord Bug. This statue would later be burned down and removed by Steve himself during his terror attack. Fueled by rage, he had not much left. He set up a home, hidden in the back of Outer Clow. After this, he stole treasures from anyone and everyone, including my entire valuables chest from my Sky Islands. Nobody suspected him at first, but after much infighting, many concluded he was the culprit. His home was located and a raid was conducted. He had built a lavish underground home, and built a throne room of the very valuables he had stolen. After clearing the area of valuables, the home was blown up. Dumb Donald was set to spectator mode for the rest of the season, doomed to his own personal hell. Here are a few honorable mentions, which I will blow through right now, in no particular order. The Great Oak, Oakmont's god, was burned down by Aaron, which actually caused the whole conflict over the whole. The world's oak in Clow was struck by lightning at one point, causing much of it to burn down. Record Munchin County caused itself to be destroyed by its ruler. Akina was a joint venture between Dewey and Blake, a Japanese-themed area. Blake built the greatest feat of engineering on the server, the Enderman XP farm in the end, which still supplies most of the world's XP to this day. The Ender Dragon was defeated by many parties early on, and it took many lives and gear along with it. A flying machine was planned between Jerome and Aaron to invade the floating isles of Electra, but was eventually scrapped. All of the villagers in Reaver's Vale were taken into a focus group in Clow, with appropriate architecture and banner to tow. These are just some of the near-endless events that have sparked war and inspiration among us. And now, we are at the present day. Salonia has declared independence, and the Prismatic Sun has gotten more aggressive, and major changes are being made to the game. Data packs are being added to increase the amount of stuff there is to do. The world's files are being altered, and the server is entering a new era. Next time the server boots up, it will be Stage 2, Season 1. It's gonna be a wild time, and many of us, myself included, intend to record it all. So much of the world's history is missing, gone, cannot be remembered. That's why we want to make sure we can document it all. This documentary is being made so we at least have a document of the past. Now, in the second stage, we will have a lot more to go by. See you all in the next episode as I go tour the big city, Clow itself.